Good evening and welcome to the April 14th, 2026 meeting of the Marion County School Board. This meeting is now called to order. Mirroring and modeling the way our students begin each day, I ask that we observe a moment of silence at this time. Please join me. I will now have our board representatives share our board commitment statement.
We are the Marion County School District Leadership Team. When we come together to work, we are efficient, effective, and productive. Our three most important characteristics are dedicated, transparent, and individually responsible. To work well together, we must
demonstrate respect, confront reality, and be accountable. We will always put students first. We will leave a legacy of success.
For the courtesy of those listening to the meeting, I'm requesting everyone in the audience to please turn off their electronic devices or put them on vibrate. Public comment will now be accepted during two portions of each meeting for up to 30 minutes for each portion. The first will take place prior to the board vote and will be specific to tonight's agenda. The second will be for items on which the school board customarily takes action and will occur after the board completes the business portion of the meeting. Anyone wanting to speak regarding an agenda item must complete a blue form. Anyone wanting to speak regarding a non-agenda item must complete a yellow form. Both forms are available before each meeting and on the district website. Forms are due to the board clerk by 5:40 p.m. and can be submitted via email or in person. Public speakers will have 3 minutes to complete their comments, and no more than 10 speakers will be scheduled in either public comment portion unless the board votes otherwise. Good evening, Ms. Martinez-Young. Could you please call the roll?
Good evening, Madam Chair. Dr. Allison Campbell, District 1.
Here.
Mrs. Lori Conrad, District 2.
Here.
Mr. Eric Cummings, District 3. Here. Mrs. Nancy Thrower, District 4.
Here.
Dr. Sarah James, District 5.
Here.
Julia Slaughter, Vanguard High School.
here.
Ariana Reyes, Bellevue High School.
Here.
Attorney Suzanne Green.
Here.
Dr. Danielle Brewer, Superintendent.
Here.
Thank you, and I want to welcome Ms. Green, who's sitting in for Attorney Powers tonight, so she'll be our school board attorney for this evening. Dr. Brewer, who will share inspiration and lead the Pledge of Allegiance for us this evening?
Thank you. Good evening. We have Mrs. Melissa Keinert. She's the area superintendent for Region 3, and she will introduce our special guest.
Thank you, Dr. Brewer. Good evening, Board Chair Dr. James and school board members. It is my pleasure tonight to introduce the outstanding Westport High School JROTC program under the direction of United States Army Major Telesco, Staff Sergeant Lewis, and First Sergeant Rombold. As an honor unit with distinction for over 20 years, the program meets the highest standards set by the United States Army and consistently outperforms national averages in attendance, graduation rates, discipline, and academic performance. Their unit was recently recertified and achieved a 97% rating. Additionally, Cadet Command Sergeant Major Ayala Colazo was selected to attend West Point's Summer Leader Experience. This is a week-long course where he will work with West Point senior cadets to learn about what it will be like to become a cadet. Recently, Cadet Lieutenant Colonel Frias signed an active duty contract with the United States Air Force as a technical support specialist and will be attending basic training this August. The color guard for tonight's presentation includes Cadet Lieutenant Colonel Ryan Frias, Cadet Captain Diego Oliveria, Cadet Sergeant First Class Ian Santana Ortiz, and Cadet Sergeant Emmanuel Dominguez. Leading us tonight in the inspiration and Pledge of Allegiance is Cadet Command Sergeant Major Daniel Ayala Colazo.
Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Daniel Ayala, and I am currently a junior at Westport High School. This year, I serve as the Wolfpack Battalion Command Sergeant Major. It is truly an honor to speak with you tonight. JROTC has been a defining part of my life since my freshman year, and I can confidently say I would not be the person I am today without it. To give a little context, my dad served 40 years in the Army, and because of that, I've moved a total of 6 times. I've never lived in a place for more than 4 years. While I'm grateful for those experiences, constantly moving was never easy. As I got older, it became harder to leave friends and places behind when they started to feel like home. When I first walked into freshman orientation, something sparked in me that I hadn't have felt since I left Texas. I decided to join JROTC because of the introduction that I had during the orientation. At the time, I didn't fully understand it initially, until I went outside and ran with the Raider team for the first time. The constant struggle of running multiple miles, the bleacher stairs, tire flipping, along with other strenuous activities in the hot sun built a sense of security with the people around me. I still remember running early in the morning at Raider practice during my freshman year. I didn't begin as a strong Raider during these sessions, and I was insecure about making the team. However, this didn't discourage me, and it ended up strengthening me. As I continue to work diligently each and every day, I am reminded of one of my instructors telling me, "You get as much as you put in." I have from here been one of the strongest members of the Raider team and later on the drill and color guard teams for the past 2 years. My desire for success led me to blitz through positions as I immediately became a platoon sergeant my sophomore year. And then later that same year, a company first sergeant, which are some positions they give to juniors and seniors. This hunger for betterment led our program into a successful accreditation for our JROTC program accreditation, landing us a score of 97%, earning the Honor Unit of Distinction for another year. I would like to say thank you to my fellow cadets who have put tireless amounts of work to make this happen, and the instructors who guided us when we most needed it. The success didn't mean that I'm going to stop on the brakes, though. Now, as a condition for volleyball and cross country, I have another desire that I'm pursuing, which is the United States Military Academy at West Point. In my pursuit of this goal, I have already been considered for the summer leadership experience at West Point, where I have a high chance of being able to experience the competitive environment. JROTC didn't just give me a temporary 4-year click, but rather purpose, a standard to live by, and a way to reach way past that standard. Thank you.
Thank you.
And now, as I confidently say, please stand for the presentation of the colors and the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may now be seated.
Well, those were some amazing remarks, and speaking on behalf of the board, I'm sure there'll be comments later, but I want to make sure that you understand how amazing it is that you will represent us this summer at West Point, and we feel confident that you're going to do an amazing job. So thank you for sharing such great remarks, and if you don't mind, tell your cadets to stay until we finish recognition so we can grab a picture.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Dr. Brewer, I believe we have some other recognitions this evening.
Yes, we have 3 recognitions. I'll first like to introduce to you Erin Benavides. She will introduce our state-level STEM Fair winners.
Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you, Dr. Brewer, Board Chair Dr. James, board members. I am so honored to be back here again to recognize our Marion County Public School students' achievements in science research. On April 2nd, Big Spring STEM made history after competing with over 900 projects at the state competition. 25 of our 32 projects placed. That's 78%, unheard of in such a rigorous competition. And we also received 10 special awards. In total, our students brought home more than $100,000 in cash, prize, scholarships, and all expense paid trips. It was a huge competition for us. So a small sampling of those amazing students were able to make it here tonight, and I would like to make sure to recognize all of the ones that are here. So let me start with Dustin Liu from Westport High School, who received one of those 10 special awards.
Come on up.
Nicholas DePasquale from Vanguard High School received an honorable mention. He's already one of our ISA finalists who will be going to the International Science and Engineering Fair. And he also received a special recognition from the Office of Naval Research. So from middle school, from Howard Middle School, we have Valerie Bouchkate, and she received 3rd place and a special award from the U.S. Metric Association. Also from Vanguard High School, Gabrielle Javalona, and she received 2nd place. And then the biggest news, the history-making news, in the 68-year history of Marion County Public Schools' participation in the State Science and Engineering Fair, we have never had this happen until now. Receiving 1st place in her category, Brianna Stevens from Bellevue High School. That's happened before. Of the 21st place award winners, 8 are chosen as Ying Scholar Grand Award winners, receiving $1,000, an all-expense-paid trip to the International Science and Engineering Fair, and a traveling trophy that stays at Bellevue High School for the next year. And the Silver River Museum, through generous donation of our private funders that help support us, also matched that $1,000 award to Bellevue High School to help continue and grow their STEM legacy.
Wonderful.
Thank you, and we look forward to coming back after the International Fair in May and telling you all about how we do there.
Thank you so much. Big round of applause. And students, if you just want to turn around real quick, what we will say is you guys are all so incredibly bright and so capable, and you are a prime representation of just what's happening on our campuses every single day. We're going to come down a little later and take a picture with you, so make sure you don't leave, okay? Okay, wonderful. Congratulations. Dr. Brewer, another recognition?
Yes, we have 2 more, and they will both be introduced by the coordinator of K-12 academics, Mr. Mark Ingram. The first recognition will be for our VFW State Essay Contest winners, and then the second will be our Math Counts Coach of the Year. So welcome, Mr. Ingram.
Hello, Mr. Ingram.
Thank you. Thank you, Superintendent Brewer, Board Chair. Good evening. We're going to switch things up and do it in a different order because our VFW winner is still retrieving his award. And I'm going to bring up Carolyn Hagel, our secondary curriculum math program specialist, and Amber Gartner, who is our Math Counts regional coordinator and who also works with Kinley Horn.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hello, good evening, board members. I was here last month to give you an update on our local competition. We had our state competition at Embry-Riddle on March 20th. We had several students here from Marion County, but what's really exciting is we had a local coach, Miss Pam Ernest, receive Coach of the Year. And that is really cool. We had about 200 students representing approximately 50 schools. So 50 teachers, we affectionately call them coaches, at that competition. One is selected each year to reach that covetous Coach of the Year award. And What's really cool about this is I was also attending that event helping, and I did not know until about lunchtime, and they ushered me over and said, "Hey, I just want to let you know that one of your coaches is going to get Coach of the Year award." And I shrieked. I was so excited. Anyone who knows Pam knows that she is the cheerleader of all things for her students. She has guided me through math counts since I started this about 15 years ago. She has been leading these competitions and students going to the state for the past 20 years, and there's no one more deserving to receive this than Miss Pam Ernest. So I'm very thankful to have been able to be there to give that award on March 20th, and very proud of her to be here to receive that from you all today as well.
Wonderful. Well, don't go anywhere because we're going to take a picture. So you don't have to say anything, but we're going to take a picture because we want to recognize the honor and recognition that is how amazing you are.
Blessed with really great kids and really great leaders. So
Well, thank you. Keep up the great work.
And this one recognition is a drop in the bucket for what Miss Ernest does and what she does
Absolutely.
for that Howard Middle School community. And now I'd like to bring up Lindsay Barber to recognize our VFW student winner, Jalen McDonald.
Good evening, Ms. Barber.
Hi. Thank you. Good evening, board chair, school board members, Dr. Brewer. Each year, more than 60,600 students in grades 6 through 8 participate in the Veterans of Foreign Wars Patriots Pen Essay Contest, competing for nearly $1 million in state and national awards. The contest challenges students to reflect on America's history and their own experiences by writing a 300 to 400 word essay responding to a yearly prompt. This year's prompt was, "How are you showing patriotism and supporting our country?" This year, Jalen McDonald, a student at Howard Middle School and student of Miss Ernest, earned top honors at the state level for the state of Florida. Jalen's essay was selected to represent the VFW Department of Florida in the national competition, where it received a special award of $1,000 sponsored by the Veterans of Foreign Wars Department of Colorado Award. We really commend Jalen for this outstanding achievement and congratulate him and his family and his teacher, Miss Ernest, at Howard Middle School for representing our district with excellence at both the state and the national level. And in total, Jalen's essay received over $3,000 in cash prizes.
Wow.
Yes.
Wonderful. Is Jalen here this evening? Come on down. Let's give you a big round of applause.
Yes, stand. Congratulations.
Thank you, Miss Barber. And Jalen, stay right there because I believe that was our last recognition. So we're going to come down and you'll be our first photo, okay?
That's okay. I just don't want anybody to
Yes.
trip over anything.
Yes.
No, you're good. We'll take turn. I don't know. Gotcha.
Right here, and 1, 2, 3, a couple more. And there. Miss, will you take your name tag off? Thank you. This direction, here we go. 1, 2, 3, couple more. And
I got him. Yeah, thank you. You want to put up there? Do it. I got you. I'll take your camera too if you want. Stay with him.
here we go. And 1, 2, 3, couple more.
And I'm going to do 2 for Mom. 1, 2, and I snuck a third one. Thank you. Everybody's shy today.
Guess I'm hopping in another one.
It's not my own word.
Yeah. Right.
Yep, we are. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, couple more. And take it down right
And
there.
I'll take 2. 1, 2. Thank you. That was nice. Thank you.
Can't go too far. Another one.
Very good, all these students.
Thank you for coming, Cody.
Of course.
Congrats, man.
We probably have some administrators in the audience that congratulations.
Yes, any administrators who have kids in Sparta STEM here, come on down. I saw Wade, I saw Bruce.
I want the big trophy front and center. And we're probably going to have to do 2
Sounded like Kevin just wanted the big trophy. So you might have to let him spend a day with him. Yeah, that's a sizable.
Brianna, you're gonna have to stand next to the trophy. Have you wanna help her?
Yeah, maybe right. Maybe I should get in there, right? We absolutely will.
I'll take cameras.
Thank you. Dr. Gary, if you'll take your name tag off, please. Can we scooch in just a little more? I think that should do it. Perfect. Here we go. And 1, 2, 3, couple more. Stay right there. Anybody else? Anybody else?
I already got mine.
Okay. I'd like to get one with.
Can we get one of the whole group? Yeah, the whole group.
Let's get the girl. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, couple more. Stay right there. And good to go.
Hold on one second.
Want to get
Mom needs one.
Let the mom get on the other side.
Let's not do that. Let's not push that. Oh my gosh. I did not come.
Big trophies. They're not that expensive. Congrats. You gotta get back in there. You're getting back in there. I'll take your phone if you want, Ginger. Yep.
Hold up. Takes for me? Okay, right here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I'm just saying.
Ginger, I hope one of those is your phone. Is one of those gingers?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Probably this one, right?
I don't know that. I mean, I would think so unless.
It's got Hello Kitty stickers, too. Which one's you? Is that you? Okay. Yeah, of course.
With agenda items and then 3
All right, and
non-related.
whoever's phone I have. Is that you? All right, thank you guys for being here.
Well, that was a fun-filled 30 minutes full of recognitions. I think we all do, starting meetings that way. It's a great way to remind us of all of the good things that are happening in our classrooms every single day. So I will move on to something else positive, recognizing donations. We want to start with a recognition of $1,680 to North Marion High School from One Blood Inc. to be used for school needs at North Marion High School, and $2,050 to Hammett Bowen Elementary from the PTO to Hammett Bowen Elementary to purchase teacher reference resources for classroom use, totaling $3,730 of donations. We will move into the business portion of the meeting.
I recommend approval of the agenda for the April 14, 2026 school board meeting.
May I have a motion on the superintendent's recommendation?
Second.
A motion by Board Member Cummings and a second by Board Member Conrad. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Ms. Martinez-Young, please provide the proof of publication for tonight's school board meeting.
The notice for the April 14th, 2026 school board meeting was placed on the district website on April 7th, 2026.
Thank you, Ms. Martinez-Young. May I have a motion to approve the minutes for the March 5th, 2026 administrative briefing and work session?
Motion to approve. Second.
A motion by Board Member Conrad and a second by Board Member Campbell. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. May I have a motion to approve the minutes for the March 10th, 2026 school board meeting?
Motion to approve the minutes. Second.
A motion by Board Member Thrower and a second by Board Member Campbell. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. May I have a motion to approve the minutes for the March 24th, 2026 school board meeting?
Motion to approve. Second.
A motion by Board Member Conrad and a second by Board Member Thrower. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. May I have a motion to approve the minutes for the March 31st, 2026 special administrative briefing and work session?
Motion to approve.
Second.
A motion by Board Member Conrad and a second by Board Member Campbell. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Moving into our informational items. The school district uses a construction management delivery method, including a guaranteed maximum price, or GMP, to perform construction work on projects. The superintendent or designee has signed and approved the following change orders. Per Board Policy 6345, the superintendent or designee is authorized to approve and execute any construction change order that will increase the construction contract by $25,000 or less, or that will decrease the construction contract amount, provided that the approval shall be, in his or her judgment, in the best interest of the board. Such change orders shall be binding upon execution by the superintendent. The superintendent shall report each change order that he or she approved to the board at the board meeting that follows his or her approval. The superintendent's approval of the change orders will be entered into the official minutes of the board meeting. Item 8.1 addresses owner direct purchase. To allow the direct purchase materials through the owner direct purchase process to save sales tax, the construction manager needs to return the sales tax savings to the owner via these deductive change orders. 8.1, guaranteed maximum price GMP for Greenway School HVAC modifications, change order number 1, work authorization number 1, project 25-105. The cost of this change order is a deductive amount of $131,672.68 for owner direct purchase. This action could save the district approximately $7,594.68 in sales tax. Item 8.1 addresses an additive, 8.2 addresses an additive change order. The additive change order will reconcile this project and will close the final books for this project. 8.2 is guaranteed maximum price, GMP, for off-site improvements at New Elementary School W, now known as Ross Prairie Elementary. Change order number 2, work authorization number 15, project 24-101. The additive amount is $11,792.46. This concludes the informational items. Ms. Martinez-Young, do we have any speakers this evening?
Yes, Madam Chair, we have 2 speakers for this portion of the meeting.
All right, thank you, Ms. Martinez-Young. Good evening, Attorney Suzanne Green. Please explain the rules governing persons who wish to address the school board this evening.
Thank you. In compliance with Section 286.0114 Florida statutes, the school board has adopted uniform procedures for public speakers who wish to speak at this evening's meeting, either regarding one of today's agenda items or a matter relating to the operations of the school district. These procedures will ensure the public has a reasonable opportunity to be heard on school board and school district matters. A written summary of these procedures is available from the table in the lobby. Public speaker forms are also located on the same table. The completed forms were due to the school board clerk no later than 5:40 p.m. This evening's agenda item speakers will be called prior to the business portion of the school board meeting in the order of receipt by the school board clerk. For items not listed on the agenda, speakers will be called at the end of the business meeting. Before you begin speaking, please state your full name for the record and spell your last name. Each speaker will have 3 minutes. When the speaker has 1 minute remaining, the speaker will receive a visual notice to complete his or her comments. Speakers may not yield their time to others. Speakers and meeting attendees are expected to conduct themselves in a respectful manner. Therefore, verbal attacks and profanity are strictly prohibited. The board is here to listen to your comments only. You may be directed to an administrative staff member following the conclusion of your comments for further assistance to address your concerns. If there are matters dealing with student discipline, including expulsions, they will be scheduled at the conclusion of the televised portion of the meeting. Parents may address the board regarding a discipline matter at that time. To ensure student privacy, only a parent or guardian may use a student's first or last name. Identifying reference to other students is also prohibited. A speaker's speech does not reflect the endorsement, sponsorship, position, or expression of the school district. Thank you for attention to the board's requirement. Chair, that concludes my remarks.
Thank you, Attorney Green. Can you please call the first speaker, Ms. Martinez-Young?
Ms. Denise Alexander.
Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, Dr. Brewer and members of the school board. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you tonight. My name is Denise Alexander, Executive Officer, and I'm here to ask you for your continued support of the Construction Academy, a program that is proudly supported by the Marion County Building Industry Association, and that's who I represent. This year, we have made meaningful investments into the program. Later this month, we are hosting an interview session with our members and students of Lake Weir High School. We purchased materials and graduation gifts to recognize the students' hard work at their awards night. These efforts reflect our commitment to providing students with hands-on, real-world learning experiences. One of our major projects at Lake Weir High School has been the construction of a student-built deck. Unfortunately, progress was delayed as we awaited necessary approvals. Despite this, the students are ready to move forward and all plans for the project are completed. We are also fortunate to have strong community support. The Marion County Building Industry Association, along with local suppliers, are prepared to donate materials and to help with this project. This partnership highlights the value of this program and the opportunities it creates for our students. The Construction Academy provides a pathway to careers, certifications, and lifelong skills. It connects students to industry professionals and prepares them for high-demand careers in the skilled trades. At this time, we respectfully ask for your support to continue and strengthen this program. With your approval, we can move forward with our projects, fully utilize the donated resources, and provide students with the hands-on experience they deserve. Thank you for your time and your continued dedication. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you, and thank you for your dedication as well. Ms. Martinez-Young, our second speaker.
Edward Joseph Ferrantino, Jr.
Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for your time, Marion County School Board members, Dr. Brewer. My name's Edward Cheech Ferrantino, and I'm here to urge you to expand construction trade learning opportunities and require soft skill training for every student. Marion County has a booming construction demand, yet most graduates will leave school without a single trade skill or the ability to show up on time, communicate clearly, or solve problems. We need hands-on programs in carpentry, masonry, concrete, electrical, plumbing, HVAC, and welding, starting in middle school, so students can earn the certifications and step into high-paying jobs straight after graduation, rather than locking them into a college-only path. Pair that with mandatory soft skills classes, focusing on teamwork, work ethic, conflict resolution, and professional communication. These are the traits that our employers are saying kids are lacking the most. This is not optional. It is very urgent for our industry. Every student deserves a real path to success and not just a diploma. I ask you to expand trade labs, apprenticeships with local contractors, and required a soft skills curriculum now. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for sharing your remarks. Ms. Martinez-Young, does that conclude our speakers for the beginning of the meeting?
Yes, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda items?
So move.
Second.
A motion by Board Member Cummings and a second by Board Member Campbell. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Moving on to student disciplinary matters. Before addressing expulsion matters, I would like to acknowledge the board members have received the alternative placement list for students through March 4th, 2026. Ms. Martinez-Young, are there any parents who have submitted a timely request to speak on their child's disciplinary matter?
No, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. May I have a motion to approve the expulsion of student JD 26-154 for the remainder of the third quarter of the 2025-2026 school year with services?
Motion to approve.
Second.
A motion by Board Member Conrad and a second by Board Member Campbell. I just want to make sure that we have a note here. This is an administrative action, and the student will remain on virtual school until August of 2026 when they will return to their base school. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. May I have a motion to approve the expulsion of student JD 26-145E, JD 26-146, JD 26-152E, JD 26-156E, JD 26-161E, JD 26-164, JD 26-165E, JD 26-166, JD 26-169E, JD 26-170, JD 26-171, JD 26-172E, JD 26-173E, JD 26-174, JD 26-181, JD 26-182 for the remainder of the third quarter of the 2025-2026 school year and the first, second, and third quarters of the 2026-2027 school year with services.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Board Member Campbell and a second by Board Member Cummings. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes 5-0. May I have a motion to approve the expulsion of student JD 26-163 for the remainder of the 2025-26 school year and the first, second, and third quarters of the 2026-27 school year without services.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Board Member Conrad.
Second.
Second by Board Member Campbell. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those, was there any opposing? Okay, sorry, I didn't hear everyone. Motion passes 5-0. We will move on to our discussion, regular agenda items. May I have a motion to approve the independent contract agreements with speech language pathologists?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Board Member Thrower and a second by Board Member Conrad. Dr. Brewer, I believe you have some information you'd like to share regarding this item.
Yes, thank you, Chair. We have Ms. Anna Williams-Schoen. She's the Director of Exceptional Student Education. She's here to provide a few remarks concerning this agenda item.
Good evening.
Good evening, Chair James, board members, and Superintendent Dr. Brewer. Tonight, we have for your consideration the approval of independent speech and language contracted services for the 26-27 school year. The agenda item this evening contains 16 independent contracts totaling $1,567,604.25. Speech and language services are the primary entry-level supports that we provide for students with disabilities. Those supports are provided for students in pre-K through grades 12, and they are a major part of how our school district supports students with disabilities.
Thank you so much. Board, is there any further discussion on this item? Board Member Campbell.
Thank you. I just had a question, Ms. Williams-Jones. Is this all of the speech language therapists that we will approve, or we're just approving this batch right now?
This is the current batch. I will be back before you with more approvals as we move throughout the next couple of months.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted clarification because it is a high dollar item, but this isn't as high as it actually is.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Board, any further discussion? All right, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Thank you, Ms. Williams-Jones. May I have a motion to approve the Third Amendment with Ocala Consulting and Prevention, LLC?
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion by Board Member Conrad and a second by Board Member Thrower. I believe
Miss Yvette Del Nadal is here. She's the Director of Mental Health and Wellness.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening, Chair Dr. James, Superintendent Brewer, and board members. As a district, we partner with Ocala Consulting and Prevention, or better known as OCP. OCP is a community-based mental health services provider that offers the provision of additional counseling services on our school campuses. OCP's mental health counselors work in tandem with our school-based mental health professionals, which include our school counselors, our school social workers, and our school psychologists, to provide additional support to schools identified as having high needs. OCP counselors are able to provide on-site services to students, thus helping to mitigate some of the barriers that families encounter with regard to accessing community-based services. Students are typically referred via our multidisciplinary teams on school campuses, and we currently have 13 mental health counselors that provide services on 26 campuses throughout the district. The Third Amendment presented to you tonight is to support our continuation of our partnership with OCP for the 26-27 school year to provide crucial services on our campuses.
Thank you very much for providing those remarks. Board, is there any further discussion on this item? Board Member Thrower.
I might not have heard it, the dollar amount?
$1.5 million.
$1.5 million.
Thank you. It sounds like a lot, but there is so much need, and it continues to be shared almost every board meeting by our student board representatives that they're concerned for their peers and with all the stressors in society today, which we as adults feel, it's magnified onto the kids. So I continue to be concerned about the allocation and the amount that we receive, and does it really match the need that we can provide the services that our kids are really, very straightforward about needing, which is courageous in itself. So I hope we can continue to provide as much as we can and continue to advocate.
Absolutely. And to that point, Board Member Thrower, the question I had was, the number has gone up 50% since 2024. Is that because we're serving more students than we were, or is the cost of the good gone up, or a combination of both?
A combination of both. We have had some increase in students and a slight increase in the cost as well.
Understood. All right. Board, any further discussion on this item? All right. Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes 5-0. May I have a motion to request permission to increase the estimated expenditure of discount catalog bids 4087AH, 4088AH, 4089AH, 4090AH, 4091AH, 4092AH, and 4093AH.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Board Member Campbell and a second by Board Member Thrower. Dr. Brewer, I believe Mr. Rios-Welsh is providing remarks? Or you are?
He's available for questions
Okay.
if you have any questions.
Okay, Board, do we have any questions regarding this item? Dr. Campbell.
Thank you. No questions. It's just that I believe the explanation is here if Mr. Rios wants to offer it, but certainly it costs a lot to open a new high school. And so all of the materials and supplies that are being purchased have already exceeded the budget amount, and so we're having to raise this amount based on the contract of the catalogs. But
yes, ma'am. Good evening. Yes, that is correct. We are increasing this amount so that we can continue to make sure that we have all of the supplies and equipment that we need at South Marion High School, which is driving the increase. Yes.
All right.
Opening a new high school costs a lot of money, but also we can't forsake all the other schools that we had already budgeted for, all the needs that they had. So certainly the need is present for us to raise this.
Yes, ma'am. And those other schools will continue to be able to tap into this contract. It's not just for South Marion, it's for the entire district.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Board, any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. May I have a motion to approve the guaranteed maximum price GMP for the North Marion High School Auditorium Lighting Upgrades Project 24-118?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Board Member Conrad.
Second.
Second by Board Member Campbell. Dr. Brewer, did we have anyone that wanted to speak to? I know I want to speak to it.
Yes, really, this was just for you to comment on this item.
Okay. Well, Board, all I wanted to just say is a recognition for the investment at North Marion High School and to address their lighting in their auditorium. It was something that came to my attention over almost a year ago now, and Ms. Usher and her team have been able to really do some investigation and look under the hood and kind of figure out how this discrepancy could have come about and address it and right the ship. So I'm incredibly appreciative of that. And Board, I'm appreciative of hopefully your agreement in making this happen. Any further discussion, Dr. Campbell?
Thank you, Dr. James, for bringing it up. As I was reading through this agenda item, my first question was, why didn't we do this whenever Forest and Westport got their auditorium lighting and the lighting in here as well?
Well, we did do it. We just only did it like for $100,000. And so the band teacher and leader of the drama program uncomfortably brought it to my attention almost a year ago and said, hey, I know that you guys did this upgrade, but it wasn't really an upgrade for us. And so we did a little bit digging and a little bit of conversation. And again, a lot of this predates Ms. Usher. And we realized that there was a bit of inequity there, especially when we looked at the drama numbers and how many students are actually being served in the program at North Marion High School. And so through some creative moving of money and projects and prioritization would probably be the best way to put it, we figured out how to make it happen. Is there any other comment from the board? All right. Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Thank you, Board, and we'll now move into meeting reminders. There are no off-air discipline disputes for April 16th. We do have a special school board meeting on April 16th that will begin at 8:55. We will immediately recess that and then come back on at the end of our work session to address an item that will need to be voted on. There is also an ICROC meeting for referendum oversight scheduled for April 16th at 4 p.m. We'll now move into persons requesting to address the board for non-related agenda items. Ms. Martinez-Young, how many speakers do we have?
We have 3 speakers.
All right. Seeing as we've already shared the remarks, Attorney Green, you don't need to read them again. Thank you so much. Will you please welcome our first speaker?
Anthony Hartwell Brown.
Come on down. Good evening.
Good evening, everyone. Dr. Brewer, board chair, board members. I am simply here as a mouthpiece in support of the dynamic community and caring person that Narvella Haynes is. What she has done for our community in the 3 years that I've known her has been nothing less than spectacular. She shows an unconditional love for all of our students, and I wanted for the record to say that it will be truly missed from my perspective as well from the many families that she has served in our time together. I understand that family liaisons all over the county are experiencing something similar, and our hearts go out to them as well. But I come to you just to reinforce that though you have no direct control, and I understand, the method by which was presented to the family liaisons was less than transparent. And that's difficult when these are the people who are the faces of our community. They hug our children. They make sure that they have shoes. They make sure that they're taken care of on so many levels that me as a public school teacher, I cannot. And so I simply have a desire to say that in a school district that prides itself on caring, I would love to see in the future that we treat these kind of individuals who go above and beyond each and every day with a little bit more caring in these difficult situations. Difficult decisions come across our lives every day, and that's to be understood. But how we communicate as human beings in those difficult situations is what sets us apart as a family here in Marion County. And I just wanted to say thank you to Narvella. And thank you to you for listening to me and all the people who have come to me that were a little nervous to step before you. So thank you so very much and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you as well. Ms. Martinez-Young, who's next?
Narvella Haynes.
Good evening, Ms. Haynes.
And if I can't finish in 3 minutes, I'll be back again. Good evening. Protocol has been established, so I'm not going to address each of you individually. To Dr. Brewer and staff, I stand before you this evening to address layoffs and replacements of FELs and others. What is disturbing about this situation is how it was handled. We were told that we would be going to site-based budgeting, but it was up to the principals to keep us. But this is where the controversy and emotions come in. Not one time were we told that just because your principal put you in the budget, you would not be the person to keep the job. Had that been relayed up front, I don't think some of the principals would have put it in their budget because they knew the persons that were working for them and the impact they were making with the students and their families. Not only that, but within their organization and the community. Let's be real for a moment, because some of the principals said some of us weren't doing our jobs and the district didn't see the impact. Some of you all felt like we are also useless. Well, when you're not there every day to see what actually goes on, it's easy to come to that conclusion. You're not there when a child walks in the office with one shoe on and the other one in their hand because the sole is gone because it's dry rotted. I can give you numerous occasions I have had to deal with. Have you ever had a child to ask for a plastic cutlery set when he could have asked for chips, candy, or a drink? That puzzled me, and I asked why that baby wanted the cutlery set. And his response to me was, I will have something to clean to eat with tonight. Our families and children need us more now than ever before. You talk about attendance. Well, one day when contacting a family member about a student attendance, and the parent said to me, she is out today also because she's helping me locate food banks. I truly feel like I was misled because when it was first mentioned about us going to school base, I prayed about it and the vision came to me to make an offer to work both schools, which would help save on budgets, while building stronger relationships with our students and families. Not only that, the relationships and partnerships had been established within the community and staff. For this was no secret because I shared this with most of you and you thought it would be a great idea, but not once did one of you say it would be by seniority. That way it has the way it was handled is being, the way it was handled, one being told today, another being told tomorrow, only caused confusion and drama. Had it been done more professionally with consideration for us, there would have been more respect, and we would feel like you were being transparent with us.
Ms. Haynes, if you wouldn't mind finishing your paragraph, and then your time is expired.
Okay, I'll finish my paragraph. Transparent with us. That way we would feel now that it's more about the budget than the people that hold positions to help our children and families. And as I say, I'll finish the rest later.
Thank you, Ms. Haynes. Ms. Martinez-Young?
April Rose McCoy.
Good evening, Ms. Rose McCoy.
Hi, my name is April Rose McCoy. It's APRIL. Last name is ROSE-MCCOY. Madam Chair, School Board Member, Superintendent, I'm speaking tonight not only as an employee, but as a union voice, one that represents workers who have given their time, their skills, and their hearts to the school district. I'm here in response to the 35 layoffs of non-instructional staffs, including positions that were intentionally created to support one of the district's stated priorities, family engagement. Several years ago, this district made a commitment to establish the family liaison position, recognizing that strong family engagement is critical to student success, parent involvement, and overall school effectiveness. That commitment acknowledged that educators have long known, that when families are supported and connected, schools are stronger. If we look at the family liaison job description, the very first paragraph outlines responsibilities such as building relationships with families, supporting communication between home and schools, connecting families to resources, and helping remove barriers to student success. These are not optional services, they are essentials. Yet, the district received all of this work at a wage that was second from the bottom of the wage scale. Quite frankly, that was a bargain for the level of responsibility and impact provided. The elimination of these positions raises serious concerns. I would assume the district still expects this important work to continue at every work site. However, with these positions now gone, schools will have to find a way to continue providing these services to families. Most likely, that responsibility will fall on other non-instructional staff members of my unit, on top of their existing duties. More broadly, let's be clear. The 35 individuals who were laid off, they were not numbers on spreadsheets. They were people. People who opened school doors each morning, supported struggling students, assisted teachers, calmed anxious children, kept campuses running, and showed up every single day because they believed in public education. Non-instructional staff are essential to our school. Without them, schools do not function, period. While we understand that difficult decisions must sometimes be made, we must ask serious and transparent questions. What factors were considered when eliminating these positions? Were employee performance, dedication, and contribution evaluated? There were 35 positions eliminated in the district of this size, and we do not accept the termination was the only option. We speak often about recruitment and retention, but Action speaks louder than words. When capable,
Just finish your last paragraph, please.
when capable, committed workers are removed from the system, we lose experience, we lose trust, and we lose people who choose education intentionally, often knowing they were accepting lower pay because they believed in service and purpose.
Thank you, Ms. Rose McCoy. Does that conclude our speakers this evening?
Yes, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you. Well, with that, we will move into board committee reports and concerns and comments. I'll start with Ms. Martinez-Young.
Nothing, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Anything from the attorney's office? Thank you. I want to thank you for being here this evening and supporting our work. Dr. Brewer? Ms. Slaughter, would you like to go first?
Yep.
Good.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to start by saying once again, thank you guys for the opportunity to speak today. I want to start also with taking a second to acknowledge the job and career fair, or job and college fair that was at Vanguard today. I think it's really important to kind of like share all the opportunities and all like the choices that students have to prepare for their future, and like all like the different paths that they can go after high school. And I think it's really great that my school did that, and I think it's something that we should implement in all schools across Marion County if we don't already have that, at least for high school. And I feel like a lot of the students got to see like all the options they have available to them, like college or trade school, military service, going into the workforce. And I think that we should build upon this program that we already have, like not just at Vanguard, but at all high schools, by like familiarizing students with these options much earlier, like starting from like freshman year or even in 8th grade. That way they can adequately prepare for like going into these options, going to these different like paths, like before they go into senior year, or even in the beginning of senior year, kind of having a job fair like this instead of at this point, because most kids already know where they're going, what colleges they're going to, what they're going to do after high school at this point in the year. And I feel like it'd be really helpful to kind of start this process earlier, because a lot of my friends, like one of their biggest regrets in high school was not joining as many extracurriculars in the beginning and like when they were underclassmen, because they didn't really know how important it was for college. And I feel like it'd be helpful to kind of tell students how important all these different things are, so they can start like their college application process and like start building their application earlier and kind of start that process in freshman year so that they have stronger applications overall. And also with paying for college, I know like a lot of different, like I think like the police department and the fire department will pay for students' education if they work for them while they're going to school. And I feel like a lot of kids don't know that, and they think taking out a loan or getting scholarships are their only option to pay for college. And I mean it would be a lot more helpful for them to like know that they can do this and not be in debt when they're older, and they can work for the fire department or the police department and kind of go through the education that way.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for sharing. We always appreciate your perspective and insight. Dr. Brewer?
Absolutely. Thank you, Julia. Yes, thank you, and thank you to the speakers that were here tonight. I just want to share a few statements in response to your comments. We have met for the last few months and kept both MEA and MESP presidents in, we've been in close communication with them to let them know the process, and we followed the language that's in the collective bargaining agreement, which states in 7.02 exactly how we have to handle layoffs, and that is based on seniority. And so our executive director over HR went to every single school personally and spoke with the employees. And so we were very proud of the sensitivity that Ms. Morant's team took to talk to the employees. And it did take 2 days because of the length of time that she spent with each employee. So I appreciate you being here, but I do want to let you know that I was very proud of the way our executive director of HR handled the layoffs in this tough time. And so I wanted to comment on that. I also want to switch gears a little bit and celebrate our school librarians this month. Our media specialists, thanks to our referendum, we're able to have a media specialist in every one of our elementary schools. And so we always want to recognize School Library Month. We also are celebrating our volunteers this month. We will have a special presentation for our volunteers at the end of April. And today was our K-2 testing. So our little ones all sat for, or most of them sat for an assessment today. In my closing remarks, I want to take a moment to reflect on a few things. Over the last few weeks, our district experienced the passing of several members of our Marion County Public Schools family. These losses are deeply felt across our schools and departments. Tonight, we pause to acknowledge their service to our schools, commitment to our students, and their impact on colleagues and community. On behalf of the Marion County School Board and the entire district, I extend our sincere condolences to the families, friends, and coworkers. Our losses include Nemesio Colon, 5th grade teacher at Winding Oaks Elementary, Nicole Henderson, a bus aide in our transportation department, Minta Burton Scott, a 1st grade teacher at Oakcrest Elementary, Christian Polanco, a painter with our maintenance department, Nancy Dupree, a bus driver with our transportation department, Miss Pamela Lorraine Perry, a bus aide with our transportation department, and Patrice Bailey, an instructional paraprofessional at Emerald Shores Elementary. We also want to recognize the strength and compassion shown by our staff as they support one another during these difficult times. Grief touches every school campus differently, and we remain committed to ensuring those who need support receive it. I want to thank our employees across the district for supporting our students with professionalism, care, and dedication, even in moments of loss. This commitment speaks to the heart of who we are as a team. So Chair James, those are all my comments this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Brewer. Board Member Thrower.
Thank you. I will start by thanking the Builders Association and Mr. Ferrantino for coming forward tonight. Career and technical education has been strengthened over the past 7 years, and it's a momentum that as a school board member, I'm deeply committed to seeing continue. I am mindful every day that the funding that we get comes from the community, and we're all taxpayers. And the secondary funding that we get through our funding referendum, which has we've all, as a great majority, have supported for many years now, is a major reason why we've been able to expand our career and technical education. It is such a win across the board for the whole community, and especially for kids. You know, to be able, as student board member Slaughter just commented on, that the sooner kids begin to connect why they're even in school anyway, the better it is. And when we think back, to our youngest learners at Fordham and our other pre-K small kids, they play dress up, what do you want to be when you grow up? And they're firemen and all this stuff and having a great time. And then all of a sudden something gets lost in the translation, and it's, pound, 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 academics, academics. And I think a lot of kids become disillusioned and lose sight of why they're in school anyway. So it's critically important to maintain and also expand the momentum that we've already created. So thank you again for being here tonight to advocate on the behalf of the construction program. And I believe it's Mr. Absher that is the teacher for that program and does a wonderful job. So thank you again for being here. As a board member that started as a paraprofessional a few years ago, it distressed me greatly to see anyone be laid off. And when support professionals are laid off, it's a huge hit. And I will say that, with starting the site-based budgeting, the way I took it in was, all right, well, the principals are now going to be responsible, but the principals are going to get to call the shots. So isn't that a good thing, And then the reality of the budget sets in, and because of the union contracts, the language supersedes, I guess, even the principal's discretion. And that also came as a very rude reminder to me about how harsh it is when any layoffs have to occur, and especially when treasured employees that prove themselves over and over, day after day, just going above and beyond. Those are the losses that are just so hard to take in hard budget times. So I just wanted to share that I also had some confusion about it until, again, I was not rudely reminded. It feels rude because it's the way it is, and I don't like it. And I look forward to being able to do whatever we can, within the parameters that we have to live with, to reduce the impact as much as we possibly can. And I do appreciate Ms. Morant and the care that was taken when the news had to be broken to make the effort over 2 days' time. In fact, I got a phone call that said, we're not done today because of the time that it's taking. Now, that doesn't pay your bills, and I get that, but I think it's important to have the full context of what we're dealing with here. So I'll move on to my next thing, and that is we know that we beat the attendance drum all the time, but this feels like just such a victory that Oak Crest Elementary School finally won the attendance banner. And the attendance response committees and the focus on attendance really got strong when Oak Crest and Evergreen were both failing schools and both under state oversight. And, well, okay, so why are they in this position? Well, a bunch of the kids never came to school or hardly ever came to school. So when I think of the growth that can occur and the success that can happen when everyone pulls on the same side of the rope and emphasizes the basics, it is incredibly gratifying. And I also can't wait to see especially what Oak Crest school grade is, because maybe it's causation and not correlation, or correlation but not causation, but I might not be the smartest person on the planet, but I'm pretty sure that if you come to school, you'll probably do better. So I'm looking forward to that news. And I also want to congratulate Hammett Bowen, because Hammett Bowen tied with Oak Crest for the banner. So there's healthy competition going on there, and that's great. And Liberty Middle School, they've got, a lot going on, and they won their banner, and the Village of Westport High School won the attendance banner too. So there's incredible challenges in our district, but there's also incredible success. So as we work through the pain, I think it's also super important to continue to acknowledge all of the great work that's going on. Of course, one of my personal favorites, too, is that 3,800 Black Stallion books were labeled and sent out to schools in preparation for the reading initiative from the Ocala Horse Alliance. This has been a tremendous partnership for many years now, and it just goes to show you, when we say everyone that works for us has a hand in student success, getting all those books out to the schools is a big project. And those ladies, mostly ladies, used to do that on their own in their own cars. And, we get older every year. And Amelia Bray at the warehouse and her team have taken that on for them for the past few years now. So even if you're, moving books around, you're contributing to student success. And that's incredibly appreciated. Speaking of vocational and career and technical education, I also wanted to give a shout out to a very special partner, which is our CEP. They have been strong supporters of our funding referendum for many years. They are all about the pipeline of success for getting students from their classrooms to careers. And they are rolling out a new partnership this year in manufacturing, healthcare, and equine and agriculture. It's going to be June 1st through the 3rd, and the focus is on middle school, so that is music to a lot of our ears. And being selected for this experience, 30 educators will be immersed in these industries, spending one full day gaining hands-on experience. There will also be a pitch contest in which teams of educators from each middle school at the end will present their plans for implementing this learning into classroom instruction and threading it in. What are you here for, kids? There's some great opportunities that you can be working towards. Industry experts will serve as judges, and there'll be some cash prizes awarded to the winning team to support implementation of their plan at their middle school. So there's some pretty exciting things going on. It takes a community to lift us all up, and I know there's so much more I could say, but I'm going to leave it right there for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Board Member Thrower. Reverend Cummings.
Good evening. Let me start here. A few weeks ago, I meant to address something, to say something about something that we had just went to, and I didn't. But we were at Fordham Academy a few weeks ago for their
James, tell him to speak up.
Fordham Forest. I think that was the name of it. It's just the Fordham Forest. A few weeks ago, where the staff over there put together this, I guess it's a walking path, a walking trail or
Forest.
something. Yeah, and very, very creative on what they put in place, where these kids actually have a pathway to be outside and learn different activities and still learning to read and the other STEM-oriented events. So I want to commend Ms. Beck and the Fordham staff for that creativity and the partnerships, because there were several community businesses that partner with Fordham in putting this in place. I think it gives kids opportunity. Nowadays we kind of live with kids like to be in the house and they're playing video games and they don't know what grass is and all that kind of stuff. And these kids were able to have this trail right outside, right on their campus, where they have different stations. So I want to commend Fordham staff and everyone for that, for implementing that. I also wanted to touch base with what we saw tonight from the construction trades, Lakeware High School. We've pushed the issue about there being different pathways for success. I think just the other week when we were talking about policy, we talked about that there are more than one pathway to success. College may be the pathway for some, but it's not the pathway for all. And I think by us as a school district creating different pathways for these students to have success makes a difference. Even our student board member just said tonight about different pathways. Everyone's not going to go to college straight out of high school. Some may go into the service industry. Some may go into law enforcement or public service. But we want to make sure that we're doing whatever we can to kind of navigate or at least put in front of these kids the options that they have available to them. And I think that's a great thing. I look back to when I was in high school, there weren't a lot of pathways. You're either going to college or you're going to the military or you're going to work. And these kids have so many different options. There weren't that many trade skills being offered through high school. So I love the fact that the construction trade came tonight and said that, hey, we may even need to go to middle school, and I agree with that. I completely agree with that. My final thought is on the comments that we heard last from our fellows and concerning the work that many of our fellows have put in. One in particular that's here they spoke on tonight, and the relationships that they built and the rapport that they built with the community and with the schools and the principals and everyone. You cannot underestimate the power of helping someone that's in need. And I believe that's the position that our fellows were given. That was the job, that was the task, that was the assignment that they were given, coming out of COVID, out of the pandemic at a time when it was much needed, and it still is much needed. The then superintendent felt that it was necessary that these positions be in place in every school because they met a need that had not been being met. It is completely unfortunate. It is completely unfortunate on how our budgeting process is. When we went to site-based budgeting, we did think that it gave the principals more oversight on how, who or what person would be in those positions. However, through collective bargaining contracts, we have no control over that part. That piece is definitely in the hands of the collective bargaining units, where it states that you must go through by seniority. That's unfortunate. That's unfortunate because we do know that sometimes we equate the position with the personality. We understand that sometimes the personality in the position makes the position. We understand that. We truly understand that. And it's unfortunate that we're at a crossroads here where people are losing their jobs or people are being laid off, and through no fault of their own. Let me say it that way. Through no fault of their own. It's completely unfortunate. Sam, we thank you for the support that you've given to the district, that you've given to families, given to kids. That doesn't pay the light bill. That doesn't pay the bills. That doesn't pay a car note. My only hope is that those that are affected would still be looking within our district, looking on our website, looking for vacancies, that they can stay into the system somewhere, and that they don't lose that their seniority doesn't start all over again and all that kind of stuff. So I'm hoping that those who have been affected, those 35, would look for somewhere else to land at. This is a tough time, guys. I'm just gonna say it that way. Very tough time, and it's not getting any easier. And I'm sure this was a tough decision coming from our team to do these layoffs. But I'm praying that we would encourage those people that have been adversely affected, that you would still not give up on the district and not give up on your passion for helping people, because if it's in you to help people, that's your calling. That's what you need to do, no matter what. I'm gonna lean on my faith that God opens other doors. If He closes one, He's gonna open another one. And so whether you're in the school as a receptionist or attendance clerk or whatever, I'm just throwing out positions. If that's your calling, if that's what He's put you here for, you're going to be able to do that in whatever position you're in. So I just want to encourage you to please don't just give up on it. Keep looking, keep checking the board, because there has to be some place for you to land. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Cummings. Dr. Campbell.
Thank you. Reverend Cummings, that'll preach. I mean, it just, if God's called you to do something and you've been endowed with Spirit-led profession, God will open a door. I firmly believe that. I guess I could begin with, I have a lot of comments here, but I can begin with the end in mind. I am looking forward to our budget update this week. I know that Thursday we have a lot of conversation about our third calculation. Interestingly enough, we as a district are in a struggling position right now, in part because our state legislature hasn't passed a budget yet. So we don't know. I mean, we're speculating and forecasting what we believe the budget to be. We are under enrollment projections from this past year, and we can say that for sure. But we don't know really what the budget is going to look like, and that's in part because our state legislature hasn't told us yet. So I'll just leave that there. But let's talk about some positive things first. So consent agenda this evening. We approved the Reading Pals program with United Way. Yet again, that was in the consent agenda. Thank you, Jan, for being here in the audience when we did that. We also did approve the construction of the field house deck at Lake Weir High that Ms. Alexander spoke about this evening. So just if anybody's watching from the beginning to the end of this meeting, please be aware we did make that vote in the consent agenda. So thank you for being here, and for Mr. Ferrantino also for mentioning trades. Interestingly enough, we had the opportunity several weeks ago to welcome Congressman Randy Fine to Lake Weir High School, and he was able to tour the Construction Academy. At that time, we made a pitch to explain to him also that what we would like to do with the potential repurposing of the Lake Weir Middle campus when we build a new Lake Weir Middle School is to put an early learning academy there, and would it be possible for us to receive an earmark federally. And so thanks to the whole team for putting that work together, because during our, and I'm calling it a virtual groundbreaking we had, during the rainstorm that we had last week, we did have Congressman Fine come in and be a part of that. Representative Ryan Chamberlain was also there. But when we made that groundbreaking for the new Lake Weir Middle School campus, Congressman Fine did announce that we are in the top of his list for earmarks for federal dollars for 2027. So no guarantee that we will receive that money, but the fact that we even have an opportunity to receive it, $2.7 million from a federal earmark, is certainly a step in the right direction. So please know, we are asking for money anywhere and everywhere it can come from, and that includes our first ever request for a federal earmark in Marion County Public Schools history. So we are hopeful that our appropriation at the state level will also be considered for Marion Technical College improvements this year. Again, they haven't approved a budget, so we don't know anything about that yet. But then potentially next year, we will also be putting in an appropriation request for that Early Learning Academy repurposing of Lake Weir Middle School campus that currently sits off of Sunset Harbor Road and won't in August 2027 because it will be off of Oak Road in Silver Spring Shores. Also, a couple of meeting notes of things that have happened. So today, during the Governor's West meeting, I wanted to offer a shout out. I don't know if you all are aware, but our very own Howard Academy Program Manager, Davita Randolph, is now chairing Governor's West. And so she put together a wonderful group today. Dr. Barbara Brooks and Cynthia Graham spoke about the Black History Museum that is at Howard Academy, as well as the Friends of the Black History Museum, that the group that they have started to fundraise specifically for that group, and how they want to expand the Black History Museum. And it's housed in Howard Academy, but she was purposeful to say they don't receive any funding from Marion County Public Schools, and so they're going to start trying to do some of their own fundraising to expand that program. Additionally, today, many of us had the opportunity to attend the Rock Program's ribbon cutting at Osceola Middle School, another wonderful program that operates in Marion County Public Schools that receives no funding from Marion County Public Schools. So the donors of the Rock Program and through Empowered of Central Florida continue to amaze and continue to resource those rooms. And so that our students, all we do is provide the space. They provide the volunteers, they provide the program management, they provide the resources and everything in it. We just provide the space. They even provided the repurposing of the location and really spruced up the space at Osceola Middle School that was the former girls' locker room. So anybody who used to go there in the main building, ground floor, the old girls' locker room is now the Rock Room, and it is wonderful, and it's going to be really servicing a lot of students. I had the opportunity also to volunteer in one of our schools in the last couple of weeks in their prom boutique that the Rock Program provides, where students come and really can receive dresses and suits and all of the attire that they would need for their prom, and really some beautiful things were taken by students. And it was a great time for students who might not have the resources to get all of the dolled up kind of stuff, but might be able to find a way to get that ticket or to get the ticket sponsored, but just wouldn't have a way to get dressed up. And so the Rock provides that, and it was a wonderful opportunity to be a part of that. I have to give a shout out again to Pamela Ernest. I cannot believe she sat beside me for 2 full basketball games. We were at the semifinals of the middle school basketball games, and then she came and sat with me during the finals also, and did not say one word to me about her being the math counts teacher of the year or coach of the year for the state. She continues to amaze me, and she's so cute. She said, she's been doing it for 20 years, and she told her principal, I might do it just one more year. She started doing it when one of her children was in math counts, and so she just gets all of the sponsors to help her and all of the parents. She just gets all the parents of those Howard Middles, all the doctors and the engineers, and they help her. She's just a great wrangler of all the people to make that happen. And so since I mentioned athletics, I have to say we don't often congratulate our teams, but we've had a lot of Marion County tournaments that have been going on in the last couple of weeks, and so I want to give a shout out to the North Marion Middle girls basketball team and the Osceola Middle boys basketball team on winning the county championship. Osceola Middle has a special place in my heart. It's obviously their very first year to have actually their own gym in their own space that they could be doing that. And when you look at the traveling trophy, it was Fort King, Howard, and Osceola has not won that in at least the last 10 years. And so that was a big accomplishment for them. And North Marion Middle, I think their girls team hadn't won in several years also, so that was great. Also shout out to Forest High School for hosting the middle school basketball championship, so that's a big deal to even host. Also, Forest Boys Volleyball won the county tournament, and Lake Weir High School hosted those. Those are schools I represent right now, the way District 1 is set up. That was the volleyball county championship. North Marion High won the county baseball tournament, and the county beach volleyball and softball, fast pitch softball championships are happening this week. So a shout out to all those teams. I know that we're heading into districts also, but a lot of we have an inter-county tournament that happens, and that is what our middle schools have, is an inter-county tournament. But all of these others have the county tournaments that they participate in. So shout out to all those teams and coaches and all the work that's been done. I already kind of alluded a bit to the budget conversation happening this Thursday. It is unfortunate that collective bargaining agreements supersede what we believe should happen. And I'm just going to leave that as a statement. I know that there are representatives here from the unions, and speaking from union representation, I completely understand that. But in this particular case, the collective bargaining agreement superseded what we all believed needed to happen. So I'll leave that there. And the last thing that I will mention is something that we're talking about also on Thursday. I know we have a presentation from the City of Ocala on the Vision 2050. I wanted to highlight that last evening during the City of Ocala Planning and Zoning Commission, which I am a non-voting member of, I had the opportunity to see that, the real big plan, the way it was spelled out by city staff, because the Planning and Zoning Commission has to make the recommendation to City Council to approve it. And so as we talk about it on Thursday, I just wanted to make you all aware, again, I'm a non-voting member of that group, but I noticed that item 2.5 of the plan did have safe routes to schools mentioned. And it's in the plan, but it wasn't mentioned with a high priority or something that really had, you'll see these icons that have, and it wasn't put at a high priority. And I was able to convince those in the commission last evening to make the recommendation to City Council that they approve it, with that becoming a high priority in the 2050 vision. So yes, so safe routes to schools will be a high priority based on the recommendation from Planning and Zoning Commission. Certainly City Council has to approve it as such, but that was something that happened during last evening. So I think that concludes my remarks. Thank you, Chair.
Madam Chair, I got a question for Dr. Campbell.
Sure.
Because we kind of invested or participated in the safe routes to school. Is there any update on that process, or because it was supposed to be priority when we met at Howard Middle School when we had the conversation? So I'm kind of wondering how it dropped down.
So that specific route that was discussed, it became something, the way it was explained to me last evening was it's something that came up kind of after they had been developing the 2050 plan. And so when it was presented last night, I can show you on Thursday, I'll bring the big printouts if they don't bring them to us, but you can see all the different icons associated, and I noted it was listed, but it didn't have a high priority icon. So Planning and Zoning unanimously made that recommendation to City Council that it will be. So I think they got the message loud and clear.
Was there an update on the process of the approval?
I can provide a brief update. This is a priority, at least of a few of our city council men and women. And so it was discussed at our technical working group. And so I would believe that it is a high priority for our city council as well. And so that application, I'm sorry, Reverend Cummings, I can't remember the deadline, but it was submitted. Then there's quite a time period where it gets reviewed until we found out if we received
Deadline was back in February.
Yeah, Ms. Usher does have all that information. She could, maybe Dr. Brewer, send that out.
Yes, we will.
All right, Dr. Campbell, if that concludes your comments, Board Member Conrad.
Okay. I want to start, we had some difficult public comment today, and so I want to first start with thanking Ms. Morant and her team, because each board member did get a phone call. The original timeline was to meet with each employee individual and have conversation, and we received a phone call that because of the sensitivity of the conversations, it did take longer than anticipated, and they were running into another day. And so it's kind of a double-edged sword. You know, you're doing a good job by communicating and taking time with people, but then that takes longer. It takes longer than you anticipated. So I just want to thank Ms. Marion and her team for that commitment to visiting with every single person. I also want to say for our FELs, I work with one every Friday in the Rock Room. I am grateful and appreciative for the work that you do each and every day. This is just a really challenging time. I believe this position started over COVID I was not on the board at this time, but a need was identified as we had so many students that were not in school. And as students started coming back, principals and staff members found great value in that position in building relationships, not just with students, but with families and also with the community, bringing in resources and things that are needed at the school-based level. It's a very personal relationship, getting to know your students and your families and what their needs are. So another board member said this, I know it doesn't pay the bills, but I do want to thank you for your service and your commitment and your time and your creativity and all that you put into the work of working with our students each and every day. And so I'm just grateful for you and the work that you do. And I think Reverend Cummings and Dr. Campbell both expressed, we hope you find a spot with us. We want to see you on school campuses. Most of you I know, and so we know the great work that you're doing, and so I just wanted to be sure to share that with you. You're not a number on a spreadsheet to us. You are a person, a valuable person that serves each and every day, supporting the growth and success of our students, so just wanted to say thank you. Along those lines, talking about all that's going on in our schools. So many times, I say this many times from my board seat, but the newspaper only covers a lot of the negative things that are going on in public schools, but tonight you got to hear a variety of wonderful things that are happening in public schools in Marion County, from the Construction Academy to ROTC, all of our STEM winners. We had an essay winner, Math Counts, and a Math Counts Coach of the Year. And so I just want to give that as a reminder. There are amazing things happening in public school each and every day, and I encourage you to step into that space and be a part of all the great things that are happening. And lastly, actually, no, I have two more things. The Rock Room opening at Osceola was fabulous. If you have visited or been a part of the Rock Room, I just want to share this one thing. I wish that I had shared it at our gathering today, but when you think of the needs of students, sometimes we think large and grand, like you have to support sponsoring a room, or you have to, redecorate, or whatever that is, and really, you can volunteer or support in a very small way. Things like granola bars or socks or lotion. Those are things that I see students coming in to get. So I just wanted to share the message that if you're interested or you're part of the Rock Room on any school campus, you can give and be a part of that in a very small way. So we're just very fortunate to have that in our middle and high schools. Very grateful for the work that goes into that each and every week. Well, for them, each and every day. I get to see it each and every week, but each and every day for them. Lastly, I have a request. Dr. Brewer, Chair, I'd like for us to have an item, and I don't know how to title it or what's appropriate, but I'd like more information on travel for our staff and what that looks like, how it's decided, where the funds come from, because I'm concerned as things move forward in one space. We have, in our personnel area, things are moving backwards. And so as a community member, I think that's very confusing. I think as a staff member, it's very confusing. And so I would like for us to have some sort of overview of what that process looks like as we make decisions on which staff members are going where, what funding is used to pay for that, and what needs are met with those trainings. And so sometime in the near future, I would like more information on that.
I think that's possible.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you, and that concludes my comments.
Thank you, Vice Chair Conrad. So there's been so much that's been covered already, so I will by no means continue to go in depth on any particular topic. I want to say Miss Ernest is a rock star, and she represents a lot of rock stars. I'm so grateful that we were able to recognize her tonight. She's really a staple in that community and what she provides to the school. And so it's always nice to be able to recognize teachers who are doing just that. I also want to say Mr. Genosa, I believe I said that right? Yes?
Genosa.
Okay. Mr. Genosa at North Marion, it takes a lot for a teacher to feel compelled to email the board. It's kind of like a thing that not a lot of people do. And so for him to reach out a year ago and just share, not complaints, but bring something to my attention as a board member that I had missed about the lighting at North Marion, I really appreciated that. And he actually went to his principal to kind of ask permission first because he felt so uncomfortable. And I just want to use that as a way to say, if you, and I'll speak for myself, but I imagine I represent the whole board when I say, if you see something happening that you feel like we may have missed, because we're just one of 5 people, and our agendas are very large, and sometimes we approve something like Dr. Campbell had said, and then say, well, how was it missed? There's a lot on our plate and a lot on the plates of executive staff that are working on these items, and so I want to encourage staff, if you feel like I've missed something, I want you to reach out to me and share with me your perspective that's unique from your seat so that I can try to understand it, maybe look into it, and have a better perspective myself, because ultimately we represent not just our employees, but all the taxpayers. And so that's just kind of my invitation to say, call, text, email, and I'm sure I represent the board when I say that. So I want to touch a little bit on Construction Academy. First, the partnership with MCBIA is, I was just talking in the community about this recently, in the last week, about truly the financial, not just financial, but also presence of partnership with MCBIA, and what that has looked like for Lake Weir High School and the Construction Academy is something that is almost unprecedented in Marion County Public Schools, specifically for the construction industry. And so I'm grateful that you came tonight to speak to the item that we did approve, but I also want to just speak to what we are continuing to do in career and technical education in Marion County Public Schools is something to be proud of. One of the barriers that we still see, and Dr. Campbell is certainly more of an expert on this language than I am, is that while we have a career and technical education pathway for graduation, that pathway still requires all of the graduation requirements of a traditional high school diploma, Algebra 1 EOC, and the 10th grade English ELA test. And so we have discussed with legislators, if you can pass the welding exam, I don't think you should have to pass the Algebra EOC, because you're going into the field to be a welder. And I think if you can read the welding test and you can do the math, which I assume is on the welding test, then that should be a proper demonstration of your readiness to enter the workforce and show completion of high school requirements. And the Florida legislature is not there yet. And so while we continue to bolster what we're doing in career and technical education, we're still going to have a damper on the opportunities for students in career and technical education, because some of them will still be required to have a reading elective. And so one of their electives, which could be used for Construction Academy as an example, will have to be taken up with that stubborn reading class because they still have to pass the ELA test. And so until we can work collaboratively with the legislator, which this board has demonstrated really a great opportunity and working relationship, we will continue to beat that drum. And certainly if MCBIA would like to join us in the beating of the drum, we would welcome it, because truly I believe we are limiting our students' abilities to be involved in career and technical education to the extent they would like because of the limitations of the existing high school diploma. And certainly I'm by no means advocating for diminishing the standards to graduate. Like I said, I think if you pass a career and technical education certification and you can go into the workforce, that should be enough to demonstrate your preparedness for post-secondary work in the field and reading and math. So thank you for your partnership. Thank you for being here. I want to just briefly discuss public comment tonight. we all share similar sentiments. What I will say is this: when we went to site-based budgeting, and we were having these conversations over a year ago, the board chose to figure out how to appropriate funds to make sure that we could fund family engagement liaisons for one more year, because the timing didn't feel good, and we wanted to make sure that we were fully funding that position for one more year. The position that was created post-COVID to engage our families as students were learning remotely. And in that conversation with family engagement liaisons via Zoom, we said, hey, we're protecting this for one more year, and then we're going to site-based budgeting, and it will be a principal's decision. The gap in communication, which I was confused, I think probably most of us were, was that union contract. And so I wrote down people versus positions, which is something I know Reverend Cummings mentioned. Principals wanted to keep people, and they had to keep the position. And then the side effect of keeping the position was for some that they lost the person. And that is an unfortunate side effect of the realities of the union contract that are beyond the scope of what this board can control at this point. I certainly know that we'd probably love to talk about it in the future, but that's just the reality of where we are right now. And as it's been mentioned, I hope that everyone who is separating with employment from us will land still within our wings when the dust settles, and we're able to really finish everything out. So finally, board, I just want to touch on Mr. Powers' absence. I have not seen you all since Mr. Powers has been fallen ill and has been trying to recover. And so Mr. Powers has been able to work a little bit every day. And so first I wanted to acknowledge the work that he's done from last Monday through today, and look for the board to acknowledge a willingness for him to submit partial time off for the days in which he's worked partially from last Monday through today. Each day he's been able to check in with Ms. Brown and in legal, give guidance, and then work some to ensure that the work continues to move forward. So the first question I have to the board is, how do you feel about him submitting essentially the billable hours? The things that he's worked, he will log, and the things that he did not work, he will put in as time off. That's my first request, board, for everything through today.
I'll start.
Sure.
So my question would be, are we going to offer this to other employees? And if we do, what is that process/procedure going to be?
Dr. Brewer?
Currently, we have 8 out of 10 employees that have been approved to do so in our technology department participating in remote work. What that means for us is they're able to work 2 days remotely. And so I wanted to provide you that number.
Can you also provide, what does that approval look like? What's the approval process for that?
Yes, ma'am. The employee provides the scope of work, and the supervisor reviews that and has a discussion about expectations and how that's going to be monitored while they're participating in remote.
Dr. Brewer, I'm sorry, go ahead, Ms. Campbell.
Oh, I was just going to say that while I appreciate us considering all of our employees, the uniqueness of this specific conversation is because we only have 2 employees that report directly to us. So while we certainly need to take how we treat all of our other employees into consideration, it actually isn't an apples to apples comparison. We would treat this just like we would if Dr. Brewer was in this situation. And Attorney Powers, those are our only 2 employees that actually report directly to us.
Yes.
This is true, but I feel like it's a public-facing conversation, so we should be prepared on how we're going to handle the next step. And so that is my question. We have other staff members that are having surgeries and different things, and so, I foresee questions coming forward.
And Madam Chair, I clearly remember a few years ago, we had this conversation about hybrid type work.
Mm-hmm.
And we, as a board, did say that we were pulling those hybrid type work. Did we not say that? Because it wasn't fair. It wasn't disseminated fairly or being handled fairly across the district in every department, if I'm not correct. And so, while I understand this is not an apples to apples situation, it does set precedent when you do something outside of what you've already stated that you would not do. I think that if this situation, I think we don't need to go back and create a problem that's not there. If we follow our own rules, the problem comes in when you start breaking your own rules. Because if you break this rule for an individual, then you got to start breaking them for everybody. And so I think we need to follow suit with what we're doing. I think there are things in place that will work for the attorney in his absence or whatever. We need to follow that and stick to that.
And so just to provide a little bit of context, board, so for the last 7 days, because we obviously have not been able to meet publicly to have this discussion, the attorney has worked every day to some degree to be able to continue the work of the board. If the attorney cannot work in any capacity remotely, we will be then, he will have to log his time, and we will be having to outsource all of that to Ms. Green or someone at their hourly rate. And so for the sake of finances, I would urge the board to consider, for at least this period of time, allowing him to be able to work as needed to continue the work of the district, because we will have a significant cost ahead of us if he has to completely disengage from the work of the board, and we have to communicate all of that with Attorney Green or someone else beyond Attorney Green.
Again, Madam Chair, no disrespect to Attorney Powers, no disrespect to your request, and the work that Attorney Powers does, and I'm a big advocate for him. However, this is not about, again, we just told a group of people that it's not about the personality, that it's about the position. And if we already have things in place to handle the position, whether it be Ms. Green or whomever, that has to handle that responsibility, and we need to stick to that.
Okay, Board Member Thurr, do you have a thought or perspective to share?
Yes, I do. I think I just heard that, well, let's peel the onion back a little bit. I remember landing on that at some point we really needed to revisit remote work. It's a very competitive job market out there. My own husband has worked 100% remote for 20 years. And because of the work products that he's able to produce that are able to be tracked, that's how you know that he's working. And I would argue that someone can be really good at holding up a water cooler just the same as at work, so to speak, as they could be, at home. So I think I also just heard that we do have positions in our technology department that lend themselves very well to partial remote work, and that is actually happening. Am I correct in that statement?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. And one of the issues that came up during the remote work trial that we did a few years ago is that, plain and simple, there are some jobs that you simply cannot do remotely yet. Driving a bus comes to mind. We do have the remote Ubers now, and I've ridden in one, and I'm here to tell the story. But we're not there yet with bus drivers, so can't do it. In Attorney Powers' situation, with the work that he does, I would say that it makes sense and that it is very appropriate, and we probably needed to get a little more ahead of the game after we stopped doing it to redetermine which positions lend themselves to this model of work. It is still work. If you are a worker, you are going to overwork at school or the district office, or you're going to overwork at home. So I support not only giving Attorney Powers with the work that he's expected to perform for us, the opportunity to do that as he can right now. And I also would like to accelerate the conversation of let's get back to talking about the reality of becoming an even more competitive
employer.
Yeah, a more competitive employer. And I don't see the marriage between the conversation that we just had about the situation that we're in with union contract and so on, and people being laid off. I don't see the marriage from that to this. I just don't. So that's where I am with this.
Dr. Brewer?
I can just provide a little data. So we did the pilot program for remote work for one school year. We ended that pilot in June of 2024. We had a lot of pushback from our school administration. We are not at the point with technology that a lot of our work can be done at the district level remotely. And so the determination, we revisited it as an executive leadership team, and we looked at different departments and different job descriptions that could do the remote work. And we landed on very few, but those 10 eligible positions within our technology department that never have face-to-face contact. And that's how we determined those employees. And out of those 10 that are eligible, 8 took advantage of it. 2 of them decided to come to the work site every day. But those 8 have been successful in the remote. But again, it's because of their job description and where we are with technology. I know Attorney Powers isn't here now to respond, but something that is one big barrier for the district level is digital signatures. A lot of the work, you see the contracts that we bring before you and all of those that are under the 50,000 threshold, we cannot do any of those without hard copy, handwritten signatures. And that prevents a lot of our remote work.
Thank you, Dr. Brewer. So at this point, Board Member Conrad.
I just wanted to say I am in support of remote work. I'm just hesitant about providing opportunities for our staff. It's not a singular issue for me personally. I personally would say, and I don't know everybody's job, but I think there's probably more than 10 people that could work remotely. And so that's my hang up. It's not the Board Member Thrower, you said it very well. I'm very much in support of remote work. I just think it needs to be available to more people. If we're going to make that exception for one staff member, then there needs to be more discussion about it. That's how I feel.
Madam Chair, that's where I'm at. That's where I've been the whole time. When we had the conversation originally, I said, if you can't come back, and if you're going to come back, you have to have that conversation for the whole. What's precipitating this conversation is because of one person that we're seeing, and that makes a big difference. I'm not against remote working. I think it is an incentive for our district to have that on board. But if we're going to open this can, let's open it completely. Don't just pull the top back halfway. Let's do it the right way so that there is fairness across the board for the district. The 8 that's been doing it, there's been other instances, and there will be other instances where different situations are going to come up, and then we need to have a process or procedure or how a person does qualify for hybrid working or whatever the such. But if we're going to open it up, open it up right. Don't open it up for one individual. Do it across the board.
And I think that is a recommendation for the superintendent. And the superintendent can follow that recommendation because that's reflective of her staff. And
you're bringing it forth tonight.
About our staff. Yep. So I think, and I think that is the difference for me. The superintendent can bring forth a remote work plan if the board so desires to have a work session on remote work for the staff of Marion County Public Schools. Then we can ask the superintendent to bring forth an update on what remote work looks like and how there's a possibility of expanding the existing program that we're doing. But tonight, what I'm asking about is our only 2 employees, because I need to be able to approve time, and I did not feel comfortable unilaterally making that decision without having a conversation with the rest of the board. Dr. Campbell?
Thank you. So I believe what you're asking for us this evening is to say that our 2 employees, essentially in this unique circumstance, they are the only 2 employees that do their unique job functions.
Correct.
And because of that uniqueness, that we have the ability to approve what is being asked of us this evening. The other thing I heard, in light of what we're about to talk about on Thursday, is it's going to cost us a whole lot of money to not approve this.
Correct.
And so, while I certainly appreciate the elaborate conversation that we've been having, everything else we've talked about tonight has to do with money and the lack of money. And so we love having Attorney Green here with us, but she's on billable hours right now because she's sitting there. And we have an employee who is unable to be there right now, but is doing the work of the legal department remotely. And so in order for us to approve that this evening without exorbitant costs to this district, I recommend, board, we move forward with agreeing.
Let me say this, this will be my final comment, I'll be through with it. If I'm out for whatever reason, and I'm not gonna say what the reasons are that the person's out, but if I'm out and we know the reasons, why stress that person with adding work to them when they need to be concentrating on them?
They're not getting, it's not being added to them. They're taking it upon themselves.
Is that,
I can stress to you the level of communication that I have stressed as the chair, who's probably been the primary communicator, that none of this is necessary. That we will take on the cost burden as the district to ensure that the time needed is given. However, our employee is able and willing and feels very passionate about making sure that he shows up a couple hours a day to ensure the work of the district continues moving forward to the best of his ability. And so what I'm looking for tonight is an acknowledgement that first I can approve the time from Monday of last week to today for remote work and him submitting the hours he has not worked, but not to the full extent of 40 hours a week. And then going forward, and Ms. Morant can speak to the HR procedures and what that will look like in the timeline. Board Member Conrad.
I don't know if you're able to share this, but what's the level of commitment? Is he going to be able to fill in through Zoom or phone calls for our upcoming meetings, or what are we looking at?
Sure, I can speak to that. So for the rest of this week, we have a board, theoretically a board meeting, but really a board meeting entangled in a work session. The options were for Ms. Green to come or for Attorney Blackman. He felt comfortable being able to sit in for that and be able, there's not a lot that he felt that he would have a conflict on. And so for Thursday's work session, the superintendent and Attorney Blackman and staff have decided that Attorney Blackman will fill that void to avoid having to, no offense, pay Ms. Green to sit in. But to be able to pay a counsel to sit in on his behalf. We don't have any meetings the following week, and then the last week we have a policy update, we have truancy court, and then we also have a board meeting. And for policy update, Attorney Blackman is up to date if needed to be able to represent, and also for truancy court. And then the board meeting, we would bring in counsel again for the board meeting. That is a plan through April. I'm not saying we need a plan through April, but we have a plan. We have had a collective conversation about a plan through April.
so we're still gonna be utilizing outside counsel for board meetings?
For a couple hours for one board meeting.
So there's still costs involved, right?
Are you looking for a motion?
It's not a motion. I just need consensus. I need to hear that two board members agree with me that we're going to move forward in the remote, the approval of remote work.
I agree.
With hesitation, I agree.
Okay. Board Member Thrower?
I will say that sometimes difficult situations catalyze processes, and we have two employees, and this can be confusing, for the public and many of our employees, but our school board attorney and our superintendent are the only two that we evaluate. So maybe that's the most simple way to explain it. And that I will also say that this conversation should catalyze as soon as practicable having a work session to revisit this remote work topic.
All right, thank you, Board Member Thrower. Reverend Cummings, did you have anything to add?
You needed two?
I got my two. I didn't want to miss you.
Doesn't need-
Okay, thank you. Well, that will conclude my comments for tonight. Board, Ms. Morant will update you all with some procedures as such as they come forward. We're moving to persons requesting to address the board off-air. Ms. Martinez-Young, do we have any speakers this evening for off-air?
No, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you. Well, there being no further business, may I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Motion by Board Member Campbell and a second by Board Member Conrad. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. This meeting is adjourned at 7:36.